I'd like to start my personal story when I was 16 years old. At this time, I was unlike a lot of kids because I wasn't going to school. I was drinking every day, doing drugs all the time, and my boyfriend at the time was even an armed robber. It was not a good life to be living. So I wanted to change that life. I gave my mom a call, who lived on Vancouver Island, and I was in Sudbury, Ontario at the time. She managed to get me a ticket, and I had my whole new fresh start, leaving Ontario and heading to Vancouver Island. Things were great for about a year, and then me and Mom started fighting quite a bit. She ended up in a psychosis because my mother has bipolar disorder, where she was believing things that weren't real. It was difficult for me because I didn't understand bipolar disorder, as my family never talked about it when we were kids. As time went on, we would fight quite a bit, and eventually she kicked me out of the house at the end of grade 11. It was a really tough time, except I was very lucky. My boyfriend's family took me in for a couple of months, and I got a job at Subway Sandwiches where I made extra cash. I worked super hard in my grade 12 year. And I did something a lot of people thought maybe I couldn't do because I was on my own, which was I graduated. Not only did I graduate, but I garnered $10,000 in scholarships and bursaries. And it was an amazing opportunity because I had my early entrance into the University of Victoria. I had no idea what I wanted to take in the first couple of years, but in my third year, I found a subject called political science, the study of politics and government and power. My friends thought I was an absolute nerd for liking this stuff, but for me, it was amazing, and it really interested me. I had my degree in political science after a few years, and an entrance job to the government, which was absolutely amazing. Or so I thought, for about 6 months. And then I started feeling restless, bored, and I just had to change things up because I wasn't happy at all. So I did something huge. I sold all of my belongings, and whatever I had left, I put into my little green neon car, and I decided I'm gonna drive across Canada by myself. I remember going through Banff and the prairies, which were completely straight like this, but it was still enthralling. Where do you think I'm heading if I'm going to the hub of politics? Ottawa was the place. It wasn't a dream life and a dream job that found me in Ottawa. It was actually bipolar disorder. For instance, I was house sitting for my friend Kim, and I was composing emails. Not a big deal, right? Then all of a sudden, it felt like there was lightning in my fingertips. I had this overbearing outburst in my brain to just write. The creativity was flowing. So I opened up a Word document and I wrote for 3 hours straight, 33 pages, single-spaced. And I named this document something brilliant. I named it The Next Federal Election Strategy to Make Andrea Paquette Prime Minister. It was grandiosity. I was having these big, inflated thoughts that weren't possible, and I didn't think anything was wrong. I thought, wow, I'm destined for great things. I also started to act out of character and go into coffee shops, start randomly talking to strangers and asking them if they wanted to have coffee with me. I was overly connected, overly happy, and I just wanted to talk. And during this time, I experienced something a lot of people don't talk about, which is psychosis. Seeing things, hearing things, and believing things that are not real. Would you believe it if I told you that I saw a globe form in front of my face, as real as I could touch it? I was having a hallucination because my brain was sick. However, I couldn't tell the difference between reality and non-reality. I remember there was a loud knock on the door during this time, and I was quite startled, but I went to the door, looked through the people, and guess who was there? Absolutely nobody. I was petrified. So I grabbed my cell phone, locked myself in the bathroom, and called 911. And I told the operator that somebody was trying to break into the house because this felt as real as my everyday life. An officer came in about 20 minutes, spoke to me for half an hour, and he looked at me very kindly. And he said, Andrea, I'd like to call you an ambulance so they could take you to the hospital and you could talk to a doctor because I think you're experiencing mental health issues. I waited at the hospital for over 6 hours, but I'm really glad that I stayed. I had the opportunity to speak to 2 psychiatric nurses and a doctor. They would ask me questions like, what is your name, where are you from, who is your dad? Just baseline questions to see where I was at. I'm like, my name is Andrea Paquette, my dad's name is Raymond, and I'm from Victoria, BC. Why? They just wanted to see if I knew what was going on, and these baseline questions, well, I was very articulate, so they were gonna let me go. However, my last 2 friends came to the hospital and they convinced the doctor to keep me. I will always remember this nurse coming up to me, putting her hand on my shoulder and saying, "Hun, you're coming with us." And that was my first hospitalization at the age of 25 years old, and soon I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.